Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Sweet
Hello.
Subversives Wednesday. How
Yes,
y'all
it
doing?
is. And it is after the election, kind of. There's some elections still happening, but whatever. It's just counting, whatever.
Yes, they do that. That'll be over, I'm sure, in a few weeks or something.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah. So the lack of sleep is making it really interesting this week.
It is. It is. Yes. Yeah, my night last night went on late enough that it just became today. So
And I wanted to say officially, congratulations, Cara Holtz.
thank you.
City Council for Burnsville. Second term.
Yes.
She did it again. It's
Got
awesome.
reelected. Yes. So
Congrats,
yes, very, very happy, relieved, all of that kind of stuff. So yeah.
I'm very proud. That is awesome.
So we're having a pretty special show tonight, and it's all about election coverage. And we have quite a few newly elected libertarians. So it's pretty exciting. Some of them you were going to be talking to tonight. We have Kalish Marrow, we have James Doyle, Bob Karwin, Tricia Butler, Brian Holtz, and I think Wendy Hewitt will be joining us as well, but she might be joining us a little later.
Yeah.
So it's super exciting that we're having this. I just wanted to frame the election for libertarians before we get going with Kalish. So we had a total of about 583 candidates that will sort out. So that will be exciting to kind of sort that out. And we have, so how that broke down is we had 78 ran for local, meaning like municipal level elections, and 13 of them were elected, right? So, and it might be 14. We're checking on another one to see if they got it. So that's about like a 17% election rate, which is very good.
That's very good.
We had a couple county levels get elected. So we had 94 candidates that ran at the county level. 230 at the state legislature level with one win.
Yeah.
Super excited about that, right? We had the first win at a state legislature since I think 1994, 96, right in there. So yeah, pretty exciting. We had 60 statewide candidates and 131 federal. So that was the breakdown of our election. So very, very, very excited about that.
Y'all got a judge.
Yes. So we do have a lot of good news. We had some really good turnout. We got some great candidates elected, and I want to jump right into chatting with one of our newly electeds. And so I would like you to bring on Kalish. And Kalish, she ran an incredible election. Congratulations to you.
Thank you so much, and congratulations too on winning your re-election.
Yes. So council member elect, has it sunk in yet?
It's starting to. It's a little crazy. I'm a little on cloud 9 right now. Just trying to enjoy the moment and enjoy the calm after the storm.
It is the calm after the storm. You are correct on that. So it's Hanford City Council, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So we have featured little tidbits from your campaign over the campaign season, including when you had the plane that went through your town that had a banner on the tail. I mean, that's amazing. So that was really neat and inventive. And I loved that. I loved, and I bet that was incredible for attention getting.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And I like to think that I'm usually the creative one of the bunch, but that one came up from a friend of mine. They called up one day and was like, "Hey, what about maybe doing some skywriting or a banner or something like that?" And so huge price difference between the two, just so you know. Aerial banner is a lot more affordable way to go, but it's a little pricey because we're in a more remote area, and so the places that do that are more, more of the urban areas and stuff. So we had to pay a little extra for them to cart everything out, but yeah, it was we kept it super hush hush. We didn't want to let the cat out of the bag. We didn't want the opponents to know just how crazy and aggressive we were going to be with some things. And so it was a big surprise for people. And then the interesting thing was that after it happened, it created a buzz, basically. So even when people didn't see it, they were talking about it all the next week. So, or they caught it, maybe they caught the tail end of it, so to speak, and couldn't see what was written. They couldn't see what was written on it, but they talked to their friends and be like, oh wait, that was for her, are you kidding me? So no, it was crazy. It was fun.
That is super cool. So what do you attribute how you were able to win your seat? Because it wasn't a pushover for you to win this election.
No, it was not. In this instance, I was running against somebody who'd been in office for a while, had a lot of name recognition, just the family name too that that she's associated with. It had a lot of good following and stuff. So I think it was a combination of different things. We got started early. I already knew what I was in for because of her name recognition. I ran back in 2016 and completely different campaign, didn't know what I was doing, and started super late and all that stuff. And she was kind of returning back to council. She took a term off and was returning, but because of that name recognition, she didn't have to really do an active campaign. And it was a 4-way race, and she won without a mailer, knocking doors, anything like that. So we were good. I knew that if I was going to run again, we'd be very, very aggressive, start early. And that the unpredictable COVID hitting, we were so started early because that was about half of our fundraising was done before COVID hit, and then put everything at a standstill. So we had a good amount already in the bank by the time we really had to start getting going, and then fundraising started again. And so that helped out. We had the resources, and then of course our team was well trained. Thank you, Cara.
Yeah, Cara.
Yeah. Brett was starting to do, Brett Olson was my campaign manager, and so he was already starting to do the campaign training, and he got the plan all together. So really, I think it comes down to we were super well organized, and we just didn't let up. We had a great team assembled before we even pulled papers, and we're able to get off on the right foot and just tackle it. And I think also just being out there in the community, winning the hearts and minds of the constituents too. So, all these things really came together, obviously.
Well, it was fun watching your campaign, and yeah, you're right. So do you want to give a shout out to some of your campaign team that assisted you and how they helped you?
Absolutely. Hands down, Brett Olson right there. He just did a phenomenal job. I had some moments in my campaign where some hard times hit, lost a friend and got some bad news too. My father got diagnosed with cancer, and when I was like, I can't do anything, he kept it going. So that was I couldn't have done it without him for sure. And then Jill Olson, his wife, she was my treasurer and taking care of the FEPC filing, and what turned out to be more of a nightmare than we thought it would be. So she did that, and then her daughter Katie, she took care of our canvassing and made sure that she stayed on top of that, recruited more people for our canvassing. We had Emily Bernays, she was our Spanish outreach. So whenever we sent her to the neighborhoods where it was more Spanish speaking populated, people really loved that. She did the translations for some of our walking pieces too. So yeah, she did an amazing job with that, and just like a really good, passionate speaker. And I think, you know, having those canvassers out there that are really passionate about their candidate helps too. And oh my God, like just so many. My friend Shelley Barker too. She came out and canvassed and door knocked, and I'm going to start forgetting names, right? Because I'm on the spot right now, but no, team. All right, there's about 40 different volunteers. Oh, Christian Malazarte, he did all of my graphics. The campaign video, he took care of all of that.
That was a nice video.
It was very good.
Yeah. So just a great team. I love all of them, and I'm sorry I'm missing a few of the names, I'm sure.
Nope, that happens. Well, congratulations, Kalish. We thank you very much for joining us. We look forward to hearing more good things about what you're able to accomplish on City Council, and I'm beyond excited to have you as one of my peers.
Thank you. I'm excited to join you.
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you very much. So, you know, some of the good things that were happening, not just with our candidates, and I know a lot of attention goes to the very top of our ticket and, you know, the Joe and Spike campaign. Oh, yeah. And we have now passed the 1,600,000 mark and counting for vote total. And that now is only second to the Johnson Weld campaign. Right. And it's a lot more like the 2012 campaign. And I think the 2012 campaign is a fairer comparison because there was an incumbent in that one. It was not an, so when you're looking at comparing, you know, the 2012 versus the 2016 and, you know, the 2016 was the open election. The 2012, you know, was the incumbent. It was really exciting that we hit that mark. And I know in Minnesota for our ballot access, we need 1%, and we're in Minnesota, we're at 1.1. So we're hoping that holds out. But what it means, what it means is 1 in every 90 Americans voted for Joe and Spike.
Yes, that's a really good way of showing that, you know. And I saw on somebody's Facebook they had a map of all the local and state elected officials, and the whole country is almost all yellow. There's a few states where they're not. We need to get those people in there, and then we'll have the whole country yellow. I'd love it.
Exactly. So that, I mean, I think that's pretty exciting. And that little tidbit of information came from LP Chair Joe Bishop Henchman. So that was a nice way of framing that and putting that into perspective. But let's get our next guest up. Let's have James join us. So James Doyle, he was elected to City Council in Bellevue, Kansas. Right?
So close. Belleville.
Belleville.
I know Bellevue is all around us. It seems like every state surrounding Kansas has a Bellevue, and then all of a sudden we have Belleville. And
see, I'm used to Nebraska, where Bellevue, Nebraska. So so Belleville.
Absolutely.
Yes, and now it was a top 3 race, right?
Yes, so 3 spots open, total of 6 for the council, 3 this year, 3 next year, with 7 running. So I actually, a little background on that, I'll get right into it. I moved back to Kansas from Denver here in April. So I was not even planning this at all this year. I just wanted kind of some semblance of normalcy. I served in the Marine Corps for 8 years. I spent about a year in Denver. Wasn't quite for me, so I decided, I'm going to go back to the grassroots, go back home. And as I get here, I open the newspaper and it goes, nobody's running for city council. So it's almost like just divine intervention. Hey, Libertarians are up. So run in that day, fill out my my application, and as I'm filling it out, 6 other people walked in. So I said, oh boy. One of them
and then you're in for a dog fight.
Absolutely. But what's nice is it was nonpartisan. So unlike Kalish, mine was very simple. I already had name recognition. We're a very small community with about 2,100 people here in a deep red state. And so everyone had just assumed, here's a veteran returning home. He's going to open a business. He's probably a Republican, just like everybody else here. And would have been totally fine. Could have just flown under the radar, except for I'm extremely independent and stubborn. And as I watched this year unfold, and I used, what I had, the tools available in social media, I just started calling out everybody at the federal level: Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer. We even had Lindsey Graham. I'm like, this is insane. This is not what we stand for. You should be doing 4 main principles. That is your job. Leave us to do our own decision making, and just respect us as people. That's all we want. And it did. It caused some shockwaves at first in the town. Everyone was kind of like, oh, this kid's getting loud. And then I got crazy. I started getting little pull tab adhesive things, and I stuck Joe Jorgensen signs all over my truck. I stuck our senator's sign on there. I've even got our Libertarian of Kansas window placard still in there. It says the two-party system is broken. And I tell you, as soon as that sign went up, everybody started going, that is correct. I may not vote for Joe Jorgensen, but I'll look at the other lower level. You guys should be focusing on the lower. And I said, well, good news. We have 500 something people low level in their terms running across the country. So slowly but surely got it. And the final count for Jason Buckley, I think we had probably about 100 or so people for our county vote for a different senator. That was insane for a county of 4,600. But also the fact that 43 adults in our community woke up that morning on Tuesday and said, you know what, I'm tired of the tiresome two. I'm going to vote something different. So Joe Jorgensen pulled votes here in Kansas.
Nice.
And right as the polls started closing, we had counties down by Wichita, of all places, actually reporting gold color. So I think people in Kansas are getting ready.
I would love to know, contrasting that with 2016, like how many votes there were for Johnson Weld in 2016, because I wonder how your race and your outspokenness, did that bring people in? Were they looking at that and saying, yeah, you know what, I am going to take a look at my alternatives, and yes, this does make sense to me, and I like James, so yeah, I think I would like Joe Jorgensen.
Absolutely. I was really nervous to talk to some of our older individuals here in the community. We're an older community as a whole in western and central Kansas. I think the average age is 51. But as I started speaking more and more to them, and knowing that they'd probably been ingrained their whole life, they have one option or the other. 328 million of us, but only 2 trains of thought. A lot of them really started coming to the middle. They were disenfranchised voters, the very group that our party should be focused on, saying, hey, you know what, we get it. You should have a better option. You should have people who work for you, and you should give them consent to govern, but govern as least as possible. And so as I had discussions and said, the joke, sorry, I'm being a public nuisance. I know my signs are everywhere. I know I got Joe Jorgensen signs. Anytime that came up, people were like, no, I kind of like that. Can I get the two-party system sign is broken? I said, unfortunately, that's the only one I have, so it's going to stay on the truck. But if I can get more, I absolutely will. So we're working with the Kansas party here just to try and get some funds set aside for that, and maybe make that as we move into 2022 cycle.
See, I like how you were messaging on all of that. That was really good messaging. It was direct, it was concise, but it was, it wasn't. And it's not like it was shy, because it wasn't shy, but it wasn't edgelord, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, it wasn't for shock value. It was communicating for mutual understanding and respect.
And that's the whole approach in what my true beliefs are, is let us make our decisions as we see fit. We know what's best for our lives, but also each individual in our country simply wants to be respected as a person. So I know it's kind of that the way we do things as libertarians is you're not a real libertarian until you argue with a libertarian. And I want to take that in kind of a different direction and say, okay, we need to be a unified front. We are constantly 2 to 4 to 9 steps behind the tiresome two. Let's work just creating that nice communication chain and really show people there is another option, there's a better option, and there's an option that wants to establish the fact that individual liberties are paramount.
Right. Well, James, just talking with you, I can definitely see why you won your race. Also, I think that, what would be immensely helpful is if you were to write down some of the ways that you messaged, just in how you were communicating these ideas and messages, because those are very nice, concise ways of communicating libertarian solutions and ideals. And I think that would be fantastic to share with other candidates coming up for our 2021 race, which for most states will be entirely local races.
Absolutely.
So that would be amazing. I mean, we all have to help each other. When you're talking about, we all have to come together and have each other's back. This would be an amazing way for you to help other people get elected, because I really like your messaging.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Shameless plug. I actually yesterday, because of that messaging, was asked to moderate on one of the People for Liberty pages. They've got 16 pages total, reaching across all the different facets that make up society. You got Democrats, Republicans, Independents, all across the board. And then there was the military group. And I'm like, oh, these are my people.
Oh, yes.
Civic Jorgen, let me help out with it. And so to be asked, to join the team and communicate as best we can was an honor. I look forward to kind of working with people and showing them, hey, there is a way that we can absolutely spread our message without kind of debasing ourselves to how the tiresome two are.
Exactly. Pop-up Ginger's comment. Yes.
I just was like, I didn't want to put it up.
In love with you, James.
Oh, I didn't even do my hair today. Thank you.
Oh.
Well, you are spectacular, and congratulations on your win.
Thank you.
As you're going along in your role, let us know how that goes and what you're up to. We're very excited to see where you go with this.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You bet. Have a good one.
You too.
Thank you, James.
Wasn't that fantastic?
That's so cool.
Don't we have great electeds?
We do. We're just so lucky.
These people are the future of our party.
They really are.
And I mean, they're excellent.
It just blows my mind. Like every single story that behind every person, you just find out so many cool things. And it's just like, I am in the right party. I love this party.
I know. So before our podcast, I was listening to Larry Sharp's podcast. And if people want, they should, after ours, take a listen to that, because he was talking about how to do candidates moving forward. Now, I got to tell you, Larry's a little fired up.
Yeah, he is.
In this podcast, there might have been some F-bombs dropping. He might have been gesturing quite a bit, might have been yelling a little bit, but he brought up some good points. And one of the things that I thought was interesting was he was talking about evaluating whether you are a candidate or an activist. Like, what role are you taking? And you can do both, but just not at the same time, right? So he said, if you were going to be a candidate, and whether you were running for president or running for a local race or whatever it is, he was asking for the Libertarian Party, not as an entity, but all of us as individuals, to start coming up with, what is our criteria for those candidates? What are we looking for from them? And he was saying, don't talk about principle. They're all principled. We're not talking about that. We're talking about like the mechanics of a good candidate, right? So what he said was like a criteria he is looking for, and perhaps others wish to adopt, would be, if you are going to run for president, you want to run for president before the convention. You have to come to the convention with a media team, a policy team. You need to have already raised $100,000, and you need to be doing this full time.
Holy moly.
And then, right, all the way. But he said, if you're not willing to do that, he's not willing as a delegate to vote for you. Like, that's his criteria. And so he's asking people to think, what is your criteria? And down to local candidates. So before a local candidate gets to the state convention, right, or the county convention, however you do that, they should be showing up with themselves and 2 other people on their campaign team, $1,000 raised, and be willing and able to dedicate 16 hours a week to campaigning.
I think that's a really good thing to point out to people, just so like they understand there's a money and a time commitment. Because a lot of people go into it and they have no idea how much you're going to have to put into it.
I liked how he laid out what his criteria is and how he was asking other people, please consider what your criteria is. Both as a candidate, can you do this? And as a delegate, would you vote for this candidate or not, to nominate them? So I thought that was kind of neat, but listen to the whole thing. There was a lot of good information in it. So it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, he's such a passionate person too. It gets everybody fired up no matter what when you listen to his show. I love that.
Absolutely. We should bring in our
I just want to put this. It's like he says, we need more libertarians to see success stories. And I think that's a really good thing. And then I love this line of thinking for candidates, like, how can we make everybody more successful too?
I liked how clear it was. It was very clear, right?
Yes.
Okay, we should bring in our next candidate. Who do we have up next?
Let's see.
Is Bob in the waiting room, or are we going to Tricia?
Let me scroll down. I see there's Bob.
Bring Bob on. Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Fantastic.
It's always fantastic when you win your election, isn't it?
Definitely winning does, they say it's just great to be nominated. It's fun to play, but you know what? It's way more fun to win.
It is fun to win. And you are a council person elect?
Yes, in the city of Menifee, California, which is Southern California, about an hour north of San Diego, in the reddest of red zones in the bluest of blue states that you can come up with.
Which makes for interesting politics, I bet.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I was, during my campaign for city council, I was canvassing, I was going door to door, and I came across a house that had a carport, and it had a Biden-Harris flag hanging over the carport right next to a Trump-Pence flag on the same house over the same car. And I said, that is a house I want to go to for Thanksgiving.
This is my kind of house.
That's a house divided. Bob, I have to ask you, are you or have you ever been in radio?
Yes, you have that voice. It just struck me right away.
No, I'm just 6'4", 280, and it comes with the body.
Well, I gotta tell you, so I think we need to be having you do voiceovers for libertarian commercials and stuff.
Yes.
Are there? I'll tell you what.
There are.
Yeah, I was looking for it. California was an interesting jurisdiction because, there was a big push going on here, and Joe and Spike came through here, and it was fun to have them in town. I think there's a lot of movement that can be made here. I was looking at some of the statistics that they were showing of the argument against wasting your vote for a third-party candidate.
Of course.
And I'm sure you've talked about it ad nauseum, but I've been talking about it to people who haven't heard it. Say, hey, look, if you're going to vote for Donald Trump in California, you're the one throwing away your vote. The polls closed at 8 o'clock. At 8 o'clock and 3 seconds, they called it for Biden. And that tells you everything you need to know about what voting for a Republican in California is going to do for you. Now, locally, it's a different story. The zone that I'm in is a very, very Republican local race, Congress, Assembly, all of those kinds of races. But for statewide, if you're voting for a third party, to get a third party an opportunity to have a voice, to get to that 5% threshold, to get to be a player in the game, to get federal matching funds, you're actually doing a lot more with your vote voting for a third party than you are for the party everyone knows is going to lose. I mean, at 8:01, they called California, Oregon, and Washington all at the same time for Biden before a single vote had been counted.
Yeah. Because, seriously, why, right?
If all of those states, if every single Republican in all of those states had voted for Joe Jorgensen, we'd be having a very different conversation tonight.
We would be. So Scott Lieberman, and I'll tell you, Scott knows his numbers. So he's saying that your city has about 90,000 people in it. Is that correct?
We're actually bumping up against 100,000. So Menifee has 4 districts and an at-large mayor. We're a city manager government, so the mayor is kind of a figurehead. A lot of cities around us, Temecula, California, is the biggest city near us, about 200,000 people. They have a rotating mayor with 5 districts. For some reason, when they founded our city, everyone here wanted a mayor, but they didn't give the mayor any additional authority other than banging the gavel at the meetings. So the mayor has to spend 5 times as much money on a campaign for exactly the same authority that we have. But in my district, I'm in District 1 in Menifee, which includes the original Sun City, 55-plus community, the original Del Webb 1963 Sun City Civic Association is there, 55-plus. And we've got 14,000, bumping up on 15,000 voters, registered voters in District 1. It's a huge district for
it is huge.
City Council, and especially for a Libertarian. Hey, look at that! I've got a 15,000 person constituency overnight, but we're probably in the next 5 years going to get well over 100,000 people.
So, Bob, how did you win? Okay,
right? Great question.
How did you win?
Well, part of it, the big part of it was I did it organically in that for the last 5.5 years or so, I've been serving on the city's planning commission. I was appointed by City
now
Council
you're going to make
Commission.
Scott Lieberman a happy, happy man because it's his mission to get everyone to serve on like a planning commission or something first before they run for office.
That's
so
exactly
you've made him
right.
happy.
Yeah, so and I was actually going to comment when you were talking about the debate of candidate versus activist. I'm a legitimate candidate, and that's where it came from organically. I was appointed to the Planning Commission. I've been serving on it for January will be 6 years. I was chairman for 3 years. Also in town, I'm an attorney by day, and I've got an office. My office is in my district. I've been here for 14 years. I have 2 kids, both of whom went through elementary, middle, and high school in the public schools in the district. I volunteered at the schools. I'm you talk about radio, I'm actually the public address announcer for the high school football team.
I knew there was something.
All of these, so all of these things made me known in the community and a fixture. And so I had endorsements from the Menifee Police Officers Association, from the Riverside County Sheriff's Association, from every city council member, every planning commissioner, every Parks and Rec commissioner, former council people, Riverside County Supervisor Jeff Hewitt. He endorsed my campaign, obviously. And it came from that kind of long-term plan. So I didn't just wake up one day and say, you know what, Libertarians for all, and jump into the pool.
Although that'd be freaking awesome.
Taxation is tough.
I'll tell you what, here's how OG I am, and I don't know if you know about this, but in 2008, Bob Barr was running for president.
I remember that.
There was a forum being held at the Saddleback Church in Orange, California, of Obama and McCain, and they had circumvented a bunch of federal election rules to exclude any other candidates because technically the way they did it without any preset criteria was an illegal campaign donation to the 2 major candidates. So the Libertarian Party hired me to file a federal injunction in the Santa Ana court, in the federal courthouse, the Friday before the event was supposed to happen. And we actually got a hearing on it. It's on the Libertarian website if you go back and look at it. But we were in the federal court in Orange County, California at like 7:30 p.m. on Friday, having a hearing trying to stop a candidate for him. And there was an attorney for the Saddleback Church there. We actually argued to the federal judge, and the judge went on for like 3 minutes in issuing his opinion on the briefs, going, well, it appears that the federal election laws are very clear and they didn't meet the criteria. And the attorney's looking at me like, wait a minute, did you just pull this off? And then the judge goes,
but
however, and it was because if we had started this process a couple of months earlier, we might have had it, but because it was the next day, stop it. But so that was 2008, and so I've been involved in the party since then. I've been voting Libertarian for 20 years, and so this is the first time I've run for office because it wasn't my time. There was no opportunity. This one, the city council seat was.
It was an open seat, wasn't it?
It was an open seat. We have a term limit, 2 terms, and our District 1 city councilman was termed out. Are you kidding me? What better opportunity to go from AAA to the majors than an open seat? So the candidate that I beat Enjoy this. The candidate that I beat was a 10-year Marine combat veteran who was endorsed by the Riverside County GOP. So, yeah, I beat a Republican Marine in Menifee, California. So
nicely done.
Good
So
job.
California had several wins this year.
Yes. I was
Well,
actually
most of our wins are coming from California.
Well, California is strange, and they're
California
welcome.
is strange.
They're open to different kinds of ideals. You know, when I was talking to people, the strange balance you have to fight in being a candidate is in a city council race. It's nonpartisan.
Yep.
So, question number one: are you a Democrat or Republican?
Yep.
And in this district, that question means, are you a dirty Democrat? Because that's what they want to know.
Yeah.
And I would say, and I wasn't trying to hide it. I would say, well, actually, I'm neither. And they would look at me strangely because they're waiting to see what I'm going to say next. The next answer is, I'm a fiscally conservative libertarian. And when you're in a Republican district and they hear fiscal conservative, they pause, and then I can jump in with the endorsements. And then after that, people are like, well, you seem like you know what you're talking about.
Right.
And it made a big difference.
Fantastic. And that's good. And that's a good way to bridge in. And I know, so, because you have to have the conversation with people where they're at, not where you wish they were.
Right.
And so you're having that conversation with them where they're at, so you can bridge to them and start to be able to have that conversation without instant defensiveness over what are the ideals, all of that kind of stuff. So you give them a little gateway drug. You know, give them the first one free, right? Get them hooked.
Exactly.
Bring them on into Liberty.
What I've been saying for years, what the Libertarian Party candidates are missing, is my favorite word from the Bush administration: gravitas. You need somebody who looks like, yeah, I trust this person with my affairs, with my city, with my life. You're a formidable person. You are serious. You've got a personality. You know what you're talking about. You're well educated, but you are also grounded. And a lot of times people jump on this spinning cycle of trying to educate people all the time instead of just governing. And that we get more candidates with that kind of attitude, that gravitas, that's going to change everything.
Well, I really appreciate it. Thank you, Bob, very much. We could definitely chat with you all evening. But this was really good. This was really good. Congratulations on that win. I mean, that is a significant win to have a Libertarian win in a city of almost 100,000 people. I know you're in a district, but still, that is a metropolitan area, and that's an amazing win. So congratulations, and thank you very much, Bob.
Thanks for doing what you do. We'll see you at the next one.
Absolutely. Thank you. See, that was, I mean, look at our electeds. I mean, can you believe it?
Such cool people. Oh my God.
And the information that they're giving you, right? And it is true. If you want to run for office, get on a commission, be involved in your community, be someone that people already know and respect, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, that was fantastic.
A lot of people don't really know the people in their community. Serve on boards, get to know people.
Absolutely.
They'll help back you up. I love it.
Yes.
That's great advice.
Bring Tricia on, because we have another council member elect. We have a few of them thank you. Thank you. It was so nice talking to you last night or this morning or whenever that phone call was, congratulating you. I think it was my morning, but maybe you're still night.
Don't cry.
Well, I know it was an emotional time. So, I mean, congratulations on that. That was incredible.
Oh, I'm so proud.
It was torturous.
Yes.
Yeah. I was in a 6-person race, and when early votes came in, I was winning by 20.
Yep.
When one of our precincts hit, I was down by 7 votes.
You're like, oh.
And it was my precinct, the biggest precinct in the city. My precinct was backed up, and they didn't even stop taking votes until I want to say it was after 8 o'clock. Yeah. So I waited for it was It was 11:54 when I got the phone call.
Yeah, I was watching
Torturous.
your race, and I was like, oh, and then I was like, ooh, and then I was like, oh my God, they're not updating. Why? Give me numbers. So, I mean, I was tortured, and it wasn't even my race. So,
yeah, it was nauseating.
So, who were the people that helped you on your campaign?
Almost everything that was done, especially in, with my sign waving and stuff like that, it was my family and one close family of mine and my husband's, their family. And we're talking 7 kids, 4 adults, my sister. And then right in the final push, I had a couple people, my vice chair of the county party that really helped me out a lot. And of course, I have my mentor is an elected commissioner. So
oh, nice,
perfect.
Libertarian county chair.
Very nice. Well, you bring up something that's super important, and that is if you're going to run for office, make sure you have the support of your family. Now, I'm not saying everyone's family is going to jump in there like your family did for you and be completely hands-on and be your campaign team. But if you do not have the support of your family, it's going to be a long, hard election.
They want it for me. Like that, I keep telling them, like, we're going to have a victory party. And I told them, whatever you guys want to do, this one's yours.
Well, that is super exciting. So why did you decide to run?
I knew that I was getting active in the party. And I knew that I wanted to serve. I'm a veteran, so I wanted to, continue.
So we have 3 veterans on tonight.
Oh, wow.
And I said, I looked up at the city council, and, there was a lot of special interest in there, primarily contractors and realtors. And we have a big growth issue right now in Clarksville. And I said, I want to see someone like me up there.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So what kinds of challenges did you face on the campaign trail? Were people really receptive to your message? Did they get you?
So my whole theme basically was to run on caring. Like, and it sounds crazy, but it just caring.
No, that's awesome.
And I think that the problems that I ran into, and I started 2 years ago, so I was not on any boards.
Yes,
I should have been. I agree with that. But I did start very early so that I would know what I was doing and people would know me. And I have 18,000 people in my ward. And I wanted the time to get to everybody, and of course COVID put a hamper on that. But I totally lost my train of thought.
No. Your campaign was on caring. And I mean, if you could not have picked a better campaign theme or unifying message for this year. Because I mean, this year's been hard for everyone, and people have been scared and they've been angry and they've been everything but feeling cared for.
Yeah. And listen, they want to be listened to, especially with BLM. We want somebody to listen to us. That was a really, really big thing. And I told them flat out, I said, look, I'm not making any campaign promises but one. My one campaign promise is if you send me an email or if you call me or you text me, I will respond to you. So, that's kind of that's what I went on. And I did put out an entire platform, a 5-point platform,
right,
and everything like that. But it was just, I just wanted to get out there to the people, and I want them to know the power that the government has should be yours, and we're going to take it back.
Right.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. See, and there again, that's a fantastic message. That is a fantastic message.
It touches people in the heart, and that's what you need.
So
we need more of that.
Did you have a feeling you were going to win, or did you think it was really super up in the air?
Oh, that's what you were asking me about this, and this goes into it. You asked problems I ran into. And the problems that I ran into is it's dirty. It is, I don't know what it is about. It's just they're picking on one of my staffers. It blew my mind just how filthy and awful people can be. And I'm running this whole campaign on I care about everybody, and everybody's like, you're a dirty, rotten, filthy scumbag. And I'm like, what? You know?
I'm nice. Yeah. I'm sorry.
So that was really rough. But I did
one of my other candidates called me, and he was having a little crisis moment, and he said, I can't believe this. I feel like I've jumped into a pit of snakes naked.
Yep. So they stacked the ballot against me. And that's the true matter of fact. I started two years ago. 2 people I've known that they were going to run for the last year. And of course, when it was time to pick up qualification ballots, 3 additional people pulled. So it's me running against 5 dudes. And and they're like pretty much all relatively conservative Republicans. And of course, it's nonpartisan. But I was like, okay, mother chunkers, you know. So you know, it was up, down, of course. And if someone had told me, don't ever think you're going to win, because you'll stop pushing, and then you'll be upset if you lose. So, you know, at no point in juncture was I accepting that I was winning or going to win. But I'm still shocked. I'm still like, how did I do that? Like, what?
Well, I saw your video when you announced that you won, and I was like, oh,
I don't even remember what I said. I was such a mess.
It was very genuine. Absolutely. And it was awesome. I mean, you were exuberant and emotional and a little in shock, and it was perfect.
All right.
It was perfect.
That's me.
Well, congratulations, Tricia. We're so proud of you. I'm so excited to see what you're going to be doing. You got to let us know.
A couple of the things that you guys have touched on, the criteria for candidates is something we literally talked about at the polls while we were waving signs on election day. And you know, I have around 160,000 people in my city, and you know, we're getting bigger too. We're trying to fight off Chattanooga for 4th biggest city in Tennessee.
No.
So yeah, and I also
that's a sizable city.
The GOP co-chair, and you know, I'm right outside of Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and I actually staved off the guy that I was neck and neck with was a special forces officer. So I too am stoked about that.
That's amazing.
That is fantastic. So, you know, your win, I mean, that ward is not a small ward. That's a large ward. I mean, this was a serious fight. It's a large metropolitan area. So, I mean, this is fantastic. So, I mean, you had to go to some serious retail politics just day in, day out for 2 years to win this election.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks, five male candidates. Yes, you are correct. The last 3 weeks was arduous, and you know, the last 3 or 4 months, but it has been a wild ride. And like I said, it's so dang on dirty, and I'm like, I'm in it, not of it, you know. So,
and always, that's how you have to always maintain. Yes.
But you were the one who fought clean, and you're the one who won. So
exactly.
Yeah, you know, my opponents didn't get really dirty. There was one that was and a lot of the stuff good, like my signs were getting rocks thrown at them, and you know, that kind of typical stuff. So I just went and bought a trail cam and put a trail cam on it, and they were like, "No, you didn't," and I was like, "Yes, I did."
Oh yeah.
But there's just a lot of people in the background making their little backroom deals, and you know, so that was it wasn't so much my opponents as, you know, the people that are trying to, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Tricia.
City council. This isn't federal. You people are crazy.
People are always
at all levels. People are always crazy. It doesn't matter the level. They go crazy pants. It really doesn't matter. Well, Tricia, thank you very much.
Hey, thanks you guys for
Really
having me.
appreciate it, and
Congratulations,
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yay. Okay, we're going to be bringing Brian in next.
Okay.
So
Hi,
we'll be
Brian.
popping him on. Brian, thank you, and thank you for your patience. So Brian, you were reelected, is that correct?
Well, they canceled the election for lack of opponents, but yeah, so I'm starting my 4th term. I did it the easy way.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So you are a rarer animal. You are a reelected Libertarian.
That's right. I've only had to actually face opponents one of my 4 races, but I started out, as a walk-on, and again, I'll give credit to Scott Lieberman. You talk about activists and candidates. I've always been kind of not a retail politics kind of person. I was on the platform committee for like 5 consecutive terms a while back, and but I kept getting tired of arguing with Scott about how we need to build a farm team and stuff. And so
Scott will wear you down.
He does. So when I was about to lose my 3rd race for Congress, I was checking the county website, and I saw that there was an open unopposed seat on my local water board. And so I said, well, I'm going to show Scott. I'm going to, run for this thing just to, and then I found out that it's actually kind of interesting, and it's, it was pretty easy I filed the papers, and then there was no opponents. In fact, one of those seats we couldn't find anybody to run for it, so we had to appoint somebody. Right. So it was only on my 3rd race that there was actually opposition, and by that time you're an incumbent, and then incumbents have such a huge advantage. So, but all these previous candidates are like such inspiring stories, and I just want to point out like again what Scott and the previous folks were saying is that there's a range of effort levels that you can put in, and if you start like on a board or a commission, you can sort of ease your way into it, and you can and one of the things I found in my early libertarian activism is that it's really hard. It's like herding cats. You want to find get people to do the stuff that they like to do, so I think if you try it out, if you attend meetings, you might find that it's kind of interesting. And once you're in the room, you'll just naturally, your libertarian urges will make you speak up. And if you attend 3 or 4 meetings in a row, you're now an expert on that board or commission. And then you're like, well, of course I'll run, just because, I'm not going to let these bozos, be in charge. And so I think the important thing is just show up, get in the room, and let your instincts take over.
Absolutely. And some people look at it and they're looking at different races to run for, and they're like, oh, I could run for governor, or I could, whatever that race is. And so you ran for a water district board. Mm-hmm. And some people may look at that and they're like, well, what does that even matter? But it does matter. You do impact your community, and you can make that position your entree into helping other areas of your community as well, because now you have a title, right? So now when you go to different community events or that kind of thing, like, you have a level of respect, and people are more willing to be open to something that you're saying. So what are some of the things that you found out about water board that a person may not know?
Well, one of the things I found that at these kind of lower level things, it's often a do-ocracy. If you show up, if you are willing to take the lead on something, people will generally follow anything that's sensible, and so you can actually get stuff done just by sort of stepping up when everyone else is stepping back. And then the other thing is that you get in their heads, and when they know there's a libertarian in the room, often I don't have to make my arguments. The other board members will be like, well, I know Brian's going to say this, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, that's right. And so they almost feel inhibited about, certain things because they know there's a libertarian conscience there. So I find that people, at least, if, I know at the water board level, there's not like powerful union interests and stuff going on. So it's not like maybe a school board or a town council, but it's people go from the water board to the town council. So, you can dial up your level of involvement as much as you want.
Absolutely. Well, and and you brought up an important point, which is showing up. And the other thing is having a strategic vision. So you saw a position that you could run for that you had a really good chance of getting on board because there's not a lot of competition for it. And it gives you the ability to either continue doing that and doing good work within that area, or to move up with credibility. Yeah, actually get stuff done.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, that is fantastic. So, what advice would you give to people if they're not sure what office they want to run for, they're just starting to think about running for office?
I would say just get your toe in the water. I mean, I used to say get in the room, but now with the pandemic, so many meetings are online. So to get in the room, it's even easier. You can be a keyboard couch warrior and yet still be in the room. And I think once you attend, just target a local board. Once you attend 2 or 3 meetings and sort of absorb the vibe of what they talk about and who the people are, then you're going to feel the urge probably to speak your libertarian mind. And once you do that a few meetings, then all of a sudden you're going to be like, I might as well be on that side of the table than on this side, So it's all about just getting your toe in the water.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Brian. Congratulations again. 4th time. This is fantastic. So, yep, that rarest of libertarian animals, one that has been re-elected to office. So thank you very much. And thank you, Brian, because you showing what a libertarian is like in a governing position and doing so over the long haul, not being a flash in the pan, that helps build respect for the libertarian brand. So thank you so much, Brian. We really appreciate that.
Well, thank you for herding all these libertarian cats.
Absolutely. Meow.
Bye.
Okay. Do we have Wendy?
Wendy was here.
Yes. Awesome.
Hey.
Wendy, so good to see you again. I think it was Oregon, maybe. I think last time I saw you, maybe.
Yes.
I think it was the Oregon Convention. Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Well, thank you.
That is so excited. Okay, so tell everyone what you ran for. And I think, isn't that what your husband was on before he became a county commissioner? So, I mean, that's exciting.
Yeah, I ran for Calamasa City Council in our little town of about 85 to, I think it's somewhere between 85 and 9,000 people.
Yeah.
So, it was, I mean, Jeff was on there. He was the mayor. So a lot of it, the timing was just right. It couldn't have been any better because, you kind of have to feel what you're going to do. And it just felt right. It just felt right because I've been on the Chamber of Commerce for about 5 years and people know me because I've been at functions with Jeff, and I do have a little bit experience. I'm on our XCOM, so I felt prepared and ready. And actually, Jeff harassed me a little bit about running.
He said he was going to. He's like, Cara, I have a really good candidate to run. And I'm like, ooh, who is it?
Yeah. But, at the end of the day, when he said we need more libertarians in office, I couldn't argue with that. And that's what really did it for me. I don't like to do everything he tells me to do. But when he said that, I thought, okay, you're right.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the timing was just right. And, Boomer was willing to help me. And the name association thing just really worked out well. So it just seemed like everything just dropped into place for me.
Now, you had some nice endorsements.
Yeah, I did. I had the Press Enterprise, our newspaper, big newspaper, actually. They endorsed me. That was kind of exciting news. Obviously, my husband, but that doesn't count.
He better endorse you.
Yeah. I had one of the local real estate groups endorse me also. And let's see, who else did I have? Here in this little town, I was running against the 3 incumbents, actually.
Yeah.
And we're all friends. I know all of them. I'm not running to get rid of them. I just think, it's time for people to move on. It's time for some fresh blood in there. And that's it. Just like I said, the timing was just right and it worked out. So,
and so when you were able to get on, you bumped out an incumbent.
Yes, I did.
Which, folks, is incredibly hard to do. Incumbents at the local level get reelected between 94 and 98%.
Yes. But again, I think it has to do with I've been involved with my community for quite a while, and people also knew me because I've been around town. I was involved with the Christmas parade and, everything that the chamber did. I was involved with whatever. They knew me from Jeff being on the city council. Yeah. So I think just being around and being involved and people seeing me, and knowing who I am, it's like, that's a really good deal. They have to know you. And so when I went out and would knock on doors, they'd go either say, "Oh, I already voted for you," or "Oh, I know you." And I was like, "Oh yeah, okay."
But here's the thing. So you are well known in the community. You are very engaged in the community, but you knocked doors.
Yes.
You still knocked the doors.
I still did. Yes. Mm-hmm. Even though that made me a little bit apprehensive. I'm not necessarily a really outgoing person like my husband is. So it did make me nervous to go do it. But once I started doing it, it was easy.
Knocking doors is a lot easier than people think.
Yeah.
It takes a grind.
It takes a lot to get up your nerve to go talk to somebody randomly. But, it was pretty cool. I mean, people knew who I was and I got a really good response. And so it ended up pretty well.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, so I'm trying to dig into Libertarian Party numbers and that kind of thing a little more at the local level. And that is kind of an area I like to look at and study a little more, which is, the municipal level. When our female candidates run, they have a larger percentage chance of winning than our male candidates. I don't know why yet. It could just be a coincidence type of thing. It could be a transitory thing where that changes. But I thought it was interesting that when we have our female candidates running at that municipal level, their chance of winning is much higher.
Yeah, I don't know why. I've had people ask me, have you had any pushback, being a woman and being in politics and I have to say I haven't really. I've always had people treat me really well. I don't know. I just haven't had any problems. I guess I'm lucky that way, knock on wood, but people are real nice. So
yeah, and most people are, and even when I knocked, even if someone, they would almost sheepishly tell me, I'm actually voting for someone else, but they were still nice about it. And I was like, no, that's okay. I understand. There's a lid for every pot. I'm not your pot. That's okay.
Right.
But most people, I mean, they don't want to be jerks to you at the door. They're pretty decent people. So, but that is fantastic that you're very involved in your community. You were doing everything else, and you knocked the damn doors.
All the doors.
Yep. I probably didn't knock on all of them, but, I had help from our state party. They helped with our information. And we have a guy our treasurer, Steve Haug, that put everything into a walking order for me, which was great.
Nice. Yes.
And, I've had a lot of help. Mimi Robson, our chair, actually helped me.
Mimi is amazing.
Some of the FPPC reports. Obviously, Boomer Shannon. He's big.
A wizard.
Yeah, but I think he really thought I was going to win on name association. So, and he could have been right, but I still got out there and still did my thing and put my signs out and knocked on doors. So, you don't want to ever think that you're automatically going to be a shoo-in. So
don't take it for granted.
Nope.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Wendy. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you.
exciting. I was so happy when you decided to run for that race right when I saw that. So you immediately went into my watch list column of races that I wanted to watch and campaigns that I wanted to keep a close eye on. And man, it was great. Thank you. California has a Libertarian County Supervisor and 3 Libertarian City Council members. So it's nice when you can start to get kind of a block together of Libertarians and you can network amongst each other and help each other. And that's how you start to do it.
Oh yeah, that's it. We're trying to make a movement and build a movement, and that's, we'll keep moving forward, see what we can do.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Wendy. Appreciate it and congratulations.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Can you believe that, Heather?
It's so amazing. We have so many great candidates. I am just like overwhelmed. Seriously.
I am too. So, and I know some people were watching the election and we all get in our little silos and we go, oh, this happened or that happened. But when you look at what's happening in the Libertarian Party, we have so much amazing stuff that is happening. These elections that are happening, these candidates, I mean, think about how each one of these candidates went about things and they thought them through and they had a method to it and they leveraged their strengths.
They stuck with it. And you know what? We're all going to help each other get even better and better every year. But these stories, these are the things that potential candidates should listen to because there's gold in every single story. I loved it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you want to learn how to do something, talk to people who are successful at it. So we were able to bring successful candidates who have won their election, and they were able to give tips. And I think in the Libertarian Party, we're starting to change the internal culture that we are getting very focused on running spectacular professional campaigns with just, incredibly qualified and wonderful candidates. So we have a bright future.
We do. Yay. I love it. Oh, okay.
I know we went over time. So
I know we did. I'm just like, I wish we could keep going because I'm like, this has been amazing. I could bring them all back one by one and sit for another hour with each of them.
I know.
Seriously. But since we can't, I will say, if you like what we did today, support us on our Patreon at patreon.com, Sweet Subversives. We have nobody yet, but it would be awesome.
No, it doesn't.
That's okay though. And yay! It was another wonderful show, and it was great to get to meet everybody. And so if you have any questions or comments about the things we talked about today, share them in our comment section. We can get back to you. We can ask questions. And
if you know people who are thinking about running for office, share this with them so that they can hear these stories and these success stories and hopefully learn from them and get inspired. Like, I think Amber, I think she said she was inspired. She's gonna go get on a commission.
Yeah, she did. It actually made me go, maybe I should get on a commission. I should see if there's stuff in my town. I was thinking that too. Because, for me, it makes more sense to get to know people and then figure out where you fit in instead of just going like, I'm going to be governor. And you're like, I have no experience, but they should make me governor. I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll learn how like the whole system works first. But that's great, isn't it? Like getting people inspired. That was a good thing. And that's my good thing for the week. We did this and we got people inspired.
Absolutely. Yes. And I agree. I think that's my mom saying that Sarah should run for something. My niece, Sarah, should absolutely 100% run for office. She would be incredible. So Sarah, if you want to run for office, come talk to Auntie.
Yeah, Auntie Cara knows. She knows her stuff. So have a great week, guys. I'm going to cut us off now because we will keep going forever and ever. So have a good night, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Absolutely.